Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I'm going to go over a really good XP and resource farm for New World. And this is most likely going to be one of the farms that I'm doing very early on when the game is fully released. And I wanted to go back over this farm because I wanted to test it in the open beta to see if it still works with all the changes. And with some of the changes to how quick you can level up in New World at lower levels, this farm actually ended up being better than it was the first time I went over it. Now this farm is going to completely revolve around the harvesting profession and then using those resources that you harvest to craft various things, which will not only give you a pretty good amount of XP that also scales with your level, but it's also going to give you a ton of different resources. It's going to help you level up not only your harvesting profession, but multiple other crafting professions. And it can also be done at any level because you don't have to fight anything and you could just run around harvesting as much as you possibly want. So first off, for the location of this farm, and it is going to be located above one of the starting settlements, which is First Light Hamlet. And right above that settlement, there's going to be a point of interest called Day Spring Mills. And for this farm, you're essentially just going to be out in this open field going around this point of interest and harvesting all the plants we're going to talk about. And you don't have to get close to the point of interest or fight any enemies. It's a pretty big open field, so you can just run around and harvest without having to fight anything or worry about aggroing any enemies no matter what level you are. And the main thing this farm is going to be focused on is harvesting herb plants, which will mainly give you hyssop, and that is going to be mainly used in crafting health potions. But as secondary resources, you will also get a bunch of different cooking seasonings, which are actually a really important resource for cooking because it allows you to make different seasonings, which are used in a ton of different buff foods in the game. So those are going to be very valuable as well. So essentially how this farm works is you're going to be running around this area farming all these herbs, which are going to give you a decent bit of XP every time you harvest one. And depending on the specific plant, it will give you more or less XP. It's a pretty decent amount no matter which one you get. And then every time your harvesting level levels up, you will get a pretty big chunk of XP. Now, this XP that you're getting when your harvesting level levels up should scale somewhat with your level. So even if you go do this farm at higher levels, you still should be getting a good chunk of XP. And this is where the majority of your XP is going to come from, just getting the plants themselves, and then mostly from your harvesting skill leveling up. And your harvesting skill will still level up pretty quickly even when you're getting over level 100. During the first beta that happened, I did this up to around 170 harvesting and it still never felt like it was going super slow. So it was a good XP farm even up to those high harvesting levels. And then after you're done doing a bunch of farms in this area, you have all your resources. The only other thing you're going to need to go and get is you're going to need to go to a freshwater source and just stand there and spam E for a good amount of time to build yourself up a ton of water, because you're going to need water for crafting the health potions. So then once you go back to town, you're going to go and craft these health potions with the hyssop and the water. That is all you need. And that's going to give you a lot of XP because you're going to be getting XP every time the Arcana crafting skill is leveled up. And from doing this farm for even like 10-15 minutes, you'll get a really good chunk of XP from crafting all of these potions. You'll also just be getting XP just for crafting the potions as well. So that will be leveling up another one of the professions in the game. So that's already 2 professions being leveled up while getting a ton of XP. And these small health potions can also be pretty good for making gold, especially early on, and especially selling and starting settlements, because you can sell all these low-level health potions. All the low-level characters will buy them from the marketplace, even though they're really cheap per. You can craft thousands of these things pretty easily, so you can still make a decent bit of gold from these. And then as some secondary resources, like I mentioned, you'll be getting some cooking resources from harvesting these plants, which you can use to craft seasonings, which are used in a lot of the buff food in the game. So those are decently valuable as well. You can go do that and get yourself some cooking experience and then get yourself some experience for your level as well. And then there There are also some hemp plants in the area which will give you fibers, and with fibers you can craft a bunch of different armor pieces in the game. Fibers are also kind of the base resource you need to craft a bunch of different armors in the game, and can be used for multiple different tiers of crafting, so those are also pretty important as well. But there aren't a ton of hemp plants in the area. That is also just kind of a secondary resource you will get while doing this farm. So that is pretty much the entirety of this farm. And like I mentioned, this is really good for just leveling up your character in general. I think I got close to 2 levels in around 10 to 15 minutes of farming this area. And that should stay true for a good amount of time. And then past that, you're just getting all that XP for leveling up the different professions in the game. Then you're able to make some gold from either selling the resources raw or crafting some of the items I talked about and selling those. And like I said, I will most likely be doing this very early on in the full launch because I want to level up my arcana a ton so I can craft good potions and other things that will be very valuable once you get into the end game. And it's just really good for leveling XP as well. And especially with the changes that I went over in a recent video, this is better than it was in the last beta, and it's better than the last time I went over it because now it's easier to level up at those low and medium levels. So subscribe if you want to see more New World or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this farm, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.